Hey there, and welcome to Converse County Conversations. I'm your host, Brandi Sorensen, your neighbor, and probably the girl in the truck singing country too loud at the stoplight. I want to tell you why this podcast exists and why I hope you stick around. I grew up in Utah in a family where storytelling wasn't just something we did. It's a way of life. My dad had a gift. He was a cowboy poet and a world-class storyteller, and he saw everything as part of a bigger story. Every town we passed through, every mountain, diner, cemetery, or rundown barn, he had a name, a memory, and a lesson tied to it. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was connection. It was knowing that a town isn't made of buildings, it's made of people. And those people, they carry dreams, mistake, grit, and sometimes a whole lot of heartbreak, but also hope. And those stories, they matter because they root us. Now I live in Converse County, Wyoming. I love it here, the land, the pace, the people, but something's been missing. I don't know the deeper stories. I know the headlines and the businesses, but not always the legacy behind them. I don't know who started what or who kept it going through the droughts, busts, or booms. I don't know who sacrificed what to build the towns we now live in, and I want to. So this podcast, it's me learning. It's me chasing those stories down, asking the questions my dad used to ask. It's me sitting down with longtime locals, business owners, ranchers, veterans, school teachers, and maybe even a guy who sells your coffee to find out what they've seen, what they've built, and what they love or lost right here in Converse County. This is about deeper appreciation. It's about slowing down long enough to listen. It's about honoring the people who came before us and recognizing those still shape our towns today. And I won't lie, sometimes we'll get gritty. Real stories aren't always polished, but they're honest, and that's what makes them beautiful. So if you're someone who wants to feel more rooted, who loves a good backstory, or who just wants to see their hometown with fresh eyes, you're in the right place. Welcome to Converse County Conversations. Let's dig in. Hey, I'm Brandi with ConverseCountyHome.com and Johnston Realty, and we are here with Dennis Switzer today. This is our first, I wanted to introduce Dennis as our first podcast interview of somebody that's not me or Tyler.
Nor have I ever been.
No. And so we're here with Dennis Switzer. And Dennis, I wanted you to be our first guest because you were my introduction to the stories of Converse County, and I love that. And I'm not calling you old, but you reminded me of my dad telling the stories of this company or this, this building or right. This, and I was like that. I loved it. Remember, we had lots of conversations while I was working here about that. So
Converse County has great stories.
They really do, and you love a good story, and you're a great storyteller.
I'm a history junkie. I love history, and this morning we were talking about the museum at Cody, which is one of my all-time forever and ever favorite museums. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing museum, and today is the 99th anniversary of it. It opened in 1926. My little Wyoming history book there says it opened in 1926, and so yeah, I kind of went off on that this morning because I'm old and geeky, and old guys talk a lot. And
I love it.
Sit on the porch and gum our coffee and tell stories. So,
have you always been into history then?
Yeah. Yeah. We moved to Sheridan when I was 12, and Sheridan has, like Douglas, has wonderful stories. It's a town with stories. It's a town with history, and it's Old West. And growing up, I was, again, the geeky kid that went to the library, walked to the library every afternoon because it was between school and my house. Mm-hmm. And I would go get like 1920s bound Sheridan presses because the Sheridan Press told the stories of Sheridan, of the community. Yeah. And it wasn't just the big stories about Fort Phil Kearny and the wagon box fight. It was when they built the trolley cars that went through town. It told all the stories. And so, yeah, I am a history geek, a story geek, and I always have been.
I love that. So how did you get into radio? Were you always a radio?
Yeah.
Person? Yeah, because you've been.
I'm a fill in the blank geek. What kind of geek can I be today? Yeah, I grew up in the 1970s listening at night to the big top 40 AM radio stations, and if you say KOMA, to anybody who's 65 years old and grew up in Wyoming, they're going to know KOMA because that big Oklahoma City top 40 radio station was the one that we all grew up on. So I was always a little geeky about radio too, and here I am now.
So tell me how you came to Douglas for the radio station.
We moved to Douglas to become manager of the radio station, and then eventually bought out the other owners that were a part of it back in 1995. We've been here for 30 years. I've been on the air for 45 years, which makes me feel I'm feeling grandpa now, because 45 years of doing anything, it's like I go, oh my gosh, how have I done that for this long? I started when I was in high school up in Sheridan, and I've always worked in eastern Wyoming. We were in Gillette for 10 years before we came here. I was in Sheridan, I was in Newcastle. I've always been on the air, and I've always been on the air in eastern Wyoming. So it just goes forever. We did come to town to with the purpose of purchasing the radio stations.
Okay.
They were struggling.
What was the plan that
they were struggling, and it was a good opportunity for us, and we just never left.
Well, something we talked about and really made sense to me is in the day of streaming and all of the thing, in small town Wyoming, like radio, I think, is still going good, and it's important, and people will listen to the radio when they're getting ready in the morning. I won't talk about that I can't get your station in Glen Rock, but it's fine. Not bitter at all.
You're like, not bitter. You're right on the edge.
I am right on the edge.
Well,
in town I can, but not at my house.
Yeah. And we'll discuss that afterwards because we have 6 signals. We have 6 frequencies. When we came to Douglas, we had 2. We had 1470 and we had 99.3 FM, and over the years we've grown that to 6 other to 1580, which is it's licensed to Evansville. It's at Casper, and you'll get that. 107.3 is in Casper. 100.1 is of course here in Douglas, licensed to Glendo. What am I missing? 93.3, which is here in Douglas. We have grown the company. We've grown our footprint, and small town radio, small market radio, if it's done right, and I think we do it right, reflects the community. It's the 24/7 voice of the community. Shout out to the Douglas Budget. Small town newspapers, small town weekly newspapers are like the one piece of the newspaper business that's still vitally important, because they're taking the pictures and they're telling the stories, and we, in between the songs, are telling the stories. We do reflect our communities, and in a day where legacy media, you couldn't pay me enough to own a television station. TV stations are absolutely struggling to find their place. Cable's going away. I mean, the technology just changes, and so TV is expensive, and it's hard to do, and we all have our pluses and minuses. But yes, small market radio stations can and are and should be important to their communities.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that you've done it really well. You won some really good awards this year. I mean, you've won them throughout the years, but you were Sportscaster of the Year, right? For the National Sports.
National Sports Media Association. I was the Wyoming Sportscaster of the Year. It's a national award. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a stroke. It was a pat on the back. And then the Wyoming Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Inducted into the Hall of Fame
great.
with some other amazing broadcasters over the year, including some guys that I worked for and some stations that I worked for. And so it's really nice to get hung up on the wall with guys that I really respect. So.
Yeah. Well, the sports is a vital, again, we've talking about the small town being part of radio, but sports, hearing that if grandma can't come, or, you know, it's such a great asset to the community, and we're grateful that you.
We're going to Cody this weekend.
Yeah.
And taking everybody with us. Taking everybody with us.
It's so nice when they can't go with you. And I know your love of Wyoming comes into that too. You've shown me many a maps of some
because I'm a
random
geek.
road that
Fill in another geek. Another geek slot.
I'm not trying to call you a geek. But some other random town or house story. It's just really fun that you get to bring that
here's
on.
my map geek. My map geek for the for the podcast.
Uh-huh.
We're very, very thankful that we're not going to Star Valley for the opening round, because if we would have lost last weekend, then we would have been the 4 seed, and 4 seed has to go to Star Valley. We had to go to Star Valley several years ago. And if we go to Star Valley, we get our butts handed to us. That's pretty traditional. But I was map geeking on my trip to Star Valley last time, a couple of times ago. And the distance from Douglas to Star Valley, I drew a straight line south on I-25. The distance from Douglas to Star Valley, if you go south, it gets you to Raton freaking New Mexico. That's a long trip. That's why I'm a map geek.
Uh-huh. Well, you have to know that. Okay, so speaking of stories and small town and radio, there's been a lot of things, like I worked here during COVID and just, things happen and you're reporting on that. But over the years that you've been here, what are some of the stories that you have done or, stuff that's happened that you've been a part of in Converse County that really stick out to you?
Sometimes it's Converse County stories, sometimes it's Douglas Glen Rock stories, sometimes it's sports stories, sometimes it's national stories. I, like most other broadcasters across the country, stayed up on December 31st, 1999. Waiting to see if we would be on the air after midnight.
Okay, yeah.
With Y2K. And we didn't know if Windows was going to crater.
Yeah.
If the whole world was going to fall apart. If we would have electricity. We didn't know whether I mean, if you look behind us, computer. We're a computer built business. And so Y2K, we didn't know if there was going to be any CNN News at the top of the hour, because we didn't know if we were going to have electricity or if we were going to have CNN or if we were going to have our own computers. We didn't know what that was going to look like. And so we all stayed up and watched the clock go to 12, 0001, 02, 03. Deep breath. We're safe. We're safe. And so at 5 or 10 after, we went to bed. That was a big deal. 9/11, when the Twin Towers came down, we were still in our studios downtown, and I had a little old TV in the studio. I mean, we've always got the TV on in the studio. It's the Weather Channel today, but in that day, it had CNN News on, and I'm just doing my morning show, and I glance over, and CNN is showing a picture of this jet hitting the World Trade Center, and it was like, what is that? It wasn't AI, because we didn't have any AI then. I mean, you knew it was. You knew it was. What was that? And so it's the processing here before it's the processing on the radio. What's going on? And I turned it up. We were a CNN News affiliate then, and immediately went to the network where they had 24/7 coverage, and we rode the network all day. St. James Catholic Church opened the church doors that night, and the community went. It wasn't just the Catholics. We all went. We all showed up over at the Catholic Church and prayed for our community and prayed for our world. That was a day. I think every generation has a day that you remember. That's like a cultural day. The day that Kennedy got shot was I was like 4. I don't remember that. That's not a date. But people who are older than me remember that. They remember the end of World War II. There's cultural days, and 911 was, I think, a cultural day for all of us who are adults now. Y2K was a cultural day, especially if you were managing that. How many basketball championships can we? One of the last ones that when Cody Hellebolt was coach a couple of years ago, and what are we like at 7 in a row, 8 in a row now for the girls? I was grab him after the game and bring him to the press table, and we do the coach's interview afterwards. And he came and he sat down, and I looked at him and I smiled, and he smiled, and I said, "Well, what do you want to talk about?" Because it's like all already been said, because we've had so many in a row. And I mean, we both laughed at it, but girls basketball games, boys basketball games, football games, 30 years worth of those. There's a lot of memories of sitting courtside at the Casper Events Center and calling football games from War Memorial Stadium, which is cool. From the press box high atop War Memorial Stadium. A lot of memories.
Do you, I'm sure most people in Douglas, because it's small, but they recognize you. One of my favorite things when I was here is the little kids would come in and help record for kindergarten or whatever. Do you get, what's your people's reaction to you when they hear your voice and like put it together? If because if they don't know, they don't know Dennis Switzer, but if they put it together, that, oh, this is Dennis, this is real, like, I know that
he's real.
I know that happens. So.
Oh yeah, it does happen, and so part of that is star syndrome, but part of it is also small town, and I can't imagine doing this someplace else. I mean, I can, but I would never want to, because I love the cohesiveness of small town. People do recognize my voice sometimes. I'm also active at my church, and so there's people who know me from there, and it's like, wait, you're the radio guy? Yeah, I've been the radio guy forever, and I've gone to the same church for 20 years. So, people recognize you for one thing or for another thing. I was standing in line earlier this season at the snack bar at the football field at Cody. I'm going to grab a Gatorade before the ball game, and a lady who I don't know, who I didn't recognize, is standing next to me, and she said, and she was quiet for a couple of minutes, but she said, "So are you calling the ball game tonight?" Yeah. She said, we just moved up here. I went to your church for a while. Okay, but I didn't connect up with her. And so, how you doing? And do you like Cody? And we knew this person, and it's just nice. It's all family. Yeah. It's all family. My kids used to joke that I couldn't go anywhere without somebody recognizing me, which is kind of stupid because I live in a town of 6,000. Yeah. But I took one of my boys to a Nuggets game once because we had free tickets. Well, Steve Walker was there from Douglas High School, and we saw each other in the crowd. And Corey and Tara Davidson may have been there for that one too. We were flying home from a cruise earlier this year, Miami Airport. We're scrambling to make it from. I came 2,000 miles to do a ball game. We legit got off of a ship that we scheduled it so that we could get off the ship that morning, quick taxi to the Miami airport. We flew back to Denver. We drove home from Denver, and I did a football game that night. I literally drove and flew 2,000 miles to make it home for the homecoming game that we lost. So we got to the airport that morning, and Vicki said, "I got to go to the bathroom." And so I sat there, and she went to the. She came out, and she said, "Somebody said hi to me in the bathroom." I said, "Who was it?" It was Kim Smiley. Kim and Dean Smiley were on the same plane. They sat in the row in front of us on the same plane coming home from Miami to Denver. Who does that? It's the Miami freaking airport.
I know. What are the odds?
But it's like there's a connection for Wyoming people.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes every once in a while somebody will recognize the voice, and it's fun. Mm-hmm. But I love living in a small town where we're all family and we're all connected, and it's good. Yeah. It's one of the best things about this. We still matter here. Yeah. Individually, as a radio station, we are part of the story here, and that's fun.
Yeah, I love that. Wyoming is just a bigger small town, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because even I haven't been here that long. I just went to college in Torrington, whatever, and I still will go watch my boys play, and I'm like, hey, we went to college together. You know, it really does feel like just one large small town.
Well, we were in Torrington last week, and Jim Willix and I were just walking up to the press box. Girl comes up, gives us a hug. Good to see you. Just moved down here. Her daughter's a cheerleader. I remember when she was a Douglas Lady Cat basketball player.
Yeah.
30 years ago, 25 years ago. So yeah, it's all family.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about living here in Douglas this long?
The people, the relationships. Mm-hmm. That's a slam dunk. I mean, Douglas is a great town. When the last of our kids graduated, I looked at Vicki and I said, we don't have to stay here. Mm-hmm. Kids are out of school. If we still owed money on the radio station, so we couldn't run. There was no place else we wanted to go, and we like to travel.
Yeah.
But we like to come home to Douglas where there's no traffic and it's not 110 degrees in the summertime and it's not ice below in the wintertime, and it's a good place to be. Yeah. And the relationships are deep here after 30 years. So
yeah.
Yes.
Very, very important. Okay, so you've had to deliver good news and bad news over the years. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that? I think you take your responsibility as that a voice very, very seriously. Do you ever feel pressured by that, or is it just an honor?
I do take that responsibility. That is important, and I want to be right when I tell the story. I don't ever want to have to retract a story. I don't want to have to go back and say, I blew that one. I'm sorry. Especially if you're telling bad news. You can destroy a person by telling bad news. Now, maybe they earned that. I worked with a news director in Gillette that basically said, if you don't want to be in the news, don't do things that are newsworthy. And there's some reality to that. Mm-hmm. I will be overly cautious. I'll wait on a story to make sure that I'm getting it right, or not jumping the gun, or I can imply something. I have to choose my words carefully. I can imply something in a news story that may or may not be true. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that. I take the public's trust very, very carefully. I want the public to trust what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Not everybody does. There's times where I will gladly let another media break a story. I don't have to be first. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily want to be first. I want to be right. Mm-hmm. Let them be first. Mm-hmm. And sometimes by letting another media be first, whether that's radio or newspaper or television or mm-hmm. Facebook, because everything on Facebook is true.
Sure.
I will let them break it and wait for the bleeding to stop sometimes before I'll do a story. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't have to be first. I want to be right.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. And especially where you are in such a small town that you love and care for, mm-hmm. you know, CNN or even Casper or Cheyenne, they can break stories and it's just
another story for them. Yeah.
Another story. But these are people that you live with and care about, you know, do life with.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Okay, on a little less somber
Cheer it
note.
up, girl.
Cheer it up, girl. Note, what would you recommend to the next generation of Douglas people, whether that be people moving in or even just the young ones, as far as community?
Be a part. Be a part of the community. Mm-hmm. One of the benefits of living in a small town is you. My pastor and I used to joke about this, and we were dead serious. We're going to change the world from Douglas.
It starts here.
You can. You can change the world from here. If you live in a city of 1 million people, nobody will ever see you. But living in Douglas, living in Converse County, living in Wyoming, you can be a part of the community, and you can be a part of the passion of the community. You don't have to run for mayor. You don't have to run for city council. When we moved down here, I was very active in Gillette, and I caught my breath when I got here. It's like I didn't sign up for anything. I wouldn't. You should be on this board. You should join this group. You should. Blah, blah. No. I have a radio station to get back on its feet. The first board that I joined, and I served several years, was the library board. Because, again, I was a library geek when I was a kid, and I thought, yeah, that might be fun. So I was on the board when we were first starting to talk about building a new library, because the roof on the old library, there was no fix for it. It was always going to leak because it was a bad design for Wyoming, and the snow sat up there and it leaked under it. So we started talking about that, and we have a beautiful library here in Douglas that's been built in the last, 8-10 years, and we were a part of that initial conversation, not only what to do with the roof, but what's a library supposed to be? Because it's not, Amazon changed the world for books.
Right.
And so what's a library supposed to be? And library boards after me made some wonderful decisions and built a really nice library here in our little town. I got to be a piece of that. And people can participate, whether that's on a city board, a county board. Douglas has an arts council, an arts board, and that's their niche.
Yeah.
And that's what they contribute. I've had this conversation with city council persons and county commissioners. If good people don't run, we're left with what's left. If good people don't run, we're left with people who are less than good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You get what you get. And if good people don't participate, and that goes from city council to president.
Yeah. Or the PTA board.
The PTA board, the school board.
Yeah, whatever.
Be a part in Douglas. You can be a part of the community, and so. Actually, a week ago, I have a friend who is who will be running in the next election, and will be leaving because he's moving from one thing to another thing to another thing.
Okay.
And there's going to be an opening here. And I said, who do you envision for that? I think it's a responsibility for people who are on boards or on councils or commissions to keep an eye open for good people to say, you should run.
Yeah.
You should.
That.
And if you got somebody who is like an entry level on the Arts Council, on the Planning and Zoning Commission, who's working well on the Planning and Zoning Commission that could move into City Council, because there's going to be some openings on City Council on the next election. It's built that way.
Yeah.
There's two people that come on and come off like every election. So who should be moving in? Who should have some sort of concept of how government works, rather than just being mad because
XYZ. Yeah.
Yeah, XYZ. There's lots of XYZ going on in the community always.
Yeah.
And so there should be a grooming process that gets people informed about how the community works, so that when there's an opening on city council or the county commission or state legislature, where do state legislators come from? Well, they generally have some level of experience somewhere else. Start to get the experience so that you can change the world.
Yeah.
There was a lot more answer than you thought you were going to get.
I'm
There are
good
no
with
short
that.
answers.
I'm good with that. I started getting involved because, like, when I was first here, well, first I was here, and then we moved to Rolling Hills. But I had stuff in life, and I was just functioning. But I've started to get more involved lately, and
you don't have to be angry.
yes,
So often people are, I gotta fix this. They come in angry. No, come in to be a piece of the process.
What I'm like, okay, something happened and at the library or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, well then I'll go to the meetings, and and nobody has ever been going to the meetings, and so some people are like, why are you here? What are you accusing us of? I'm like, calm down. I just want to actually be involved.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on in my community. And so going even just to the meetings, then you know why people are choosing what they're choosing.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. We have lots of public meetings available.
And generally, there's a lot of thought that goes into those decisions before the decisions are made, regardless of whether it's the library or the town or the city or the county or the state. I mean, there's a process there.
Mm-hmm. But if you don't know, it's just like when you're a kid and your mom says you can't play at Betsy's house.
Then you're just mad.
Then you're assuming that they just hate me. They made that decision.
I'm voting mom out.
It's actually because of all of this other stuff that you don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay. Now, radio songs. To me, songs are really important. They tell a story. I love country music for that reason. I feel like they, other music as well. But if your life could be a song, summed up in a song, what would it be? I did not give him any warning about this.
No. If my life were a song, if my life were a song, Vicky will pull this on me. What's your favorite ice cream? I don't have a favorite ice cream. I like them all.
I know.
What's your favorite color? I don't have a favorite color. What's my favorite color? Oh, I'm in trouble now because I can't tell you what my wife's favorite color is. I don't have a favorite song of my life or a song.
Or even just this moment or the community.
No, I'm blank. I'm drawing nothing.
I feel like mine would be Just Another Day in Paradise. The country song is like, the washer's breaking, and it's like, we're just
another day in paradise.
But in real life, like, it really is paradise. Like, stuff breaks things, but this is what matters,
Yeah. Okay, that's a good song for you.
Okay, what about you?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. I'm not gonna pick a favorite baby.
All right. Okay, well, thank you. Is there anything else you think people should know about radio in Douglas and Converse County? Sorry.
No, good questions. I'm the richest man on earth. I'm so stupidly blessed. I get to do this. Mm-hmm. I get to do life in the small town that I love. I have an incredible life. I say thank you to God every morning for an incredible sunrise, and I'm blessed with another day. I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I don't have to. I know so many people who hate their jobs, mm-hmm. who don't love what they do. Mm-hmm. I love what I do. Mm-hmm. I love my wife. I love my life. I love my family. I love my friends. I'm stupidly blessed.
I love that.
I get to do this. That's a good place to leave this one at.
Yeah, I love that. Right. And it shows. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for letting me ramble.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. That wasn't too bad, huh?
Relatively painless.